Eos, the ancient Greek goddess of the dawn, with her abode the sky, was perhaps the most resplendent of all the beings in the Greek pantheon. With the brilliant dye of saffron as her color, she is also associated with roses, which also embody the glowing hues of the dawn. Born, according to some Greek myths, from the gods Hyperion and Theia, her siblings were Helios, the god of the sun, and Selene, the goddess of the moon. Her name was spelled in Ionic and Homeric Greek Eos, and in Attic Greek Haios. Her children were Anemoi and Astraea, the gods and goddess of the four winds Boreas, Notus, Eurus, and Zephyrus, and of 5 astra planeta, or wandering stars, i.e. planets, Phanon, Saturn, Phaethon, Jupiter, Pyroeus, Mars, Eosphoros/Hesperos, Venus, and Stilbon, Mercury. Some sources mention one daughter of Eos, Astraea, who is the goddess of innocence and, sometimes, justice. Her other notable offspring were Memnon and Emathion by the Trojan prince, Tithonus. Sometimes, Hesperus, Phaethon and Tithonus, not the lover, were called the children of Eos by the Athenian prince Cephalus. With her Roman equivalent of Aurora, she personified the glory of the new day. Her consort was Astraeus, the god of the dusk, who was with her a second-generation Titan or one of the Gigantes, descended from Tartarus and Gaia, the god and goddess of the underworld and the earth. Eos was one of the Titans, who rose each morning from her home at the edge of the Oceanus. Like her Roman identity of Aurora and the Rigvedic Ushas in India, Eos continues the name of an earlier Indo-European dawn goddess known as Halsos. All four are considered derivatives of the Proto-Indo-European stem Husos, later Ossos, dawn. This root also gave rise to the Proto-Germanic word Ostro, Old High German Ostar and Old English Istra or Istri. According to etymological experts, these cognates led to the reconstruction of the name of the Proto-Indo-European dawn goddess, known as Halsos. Eos was the daughter of the Titans Hyperion and Theia. Hyperion was known as a bringer of light, the one above, who travels high above the earth. Theia was referred to as the divine, and also called Euryphaessa, wide shining in Aethra, or bright sky. Hesiod, in his work Theogony, stated that Eos was the sister of Helios, the god of the sun, and Selene, one of the goddesses of the moon, who shine upon all that are on earth and upon the deathless gods who live in the wide heaven. The generation of Titans preceded all the familiar deities of Olympus, who largely supplanted them in the ancient Greek pantheon of gods and goddesses. In some accounts, Eos' father was also called Pallas. Eos, the goddess of the dawn, was almost always described having rosy fingers or rosy forearms, as she opened the gates of heaven for the sun to rise each day. Rosy-fingered and with golden arms, she is depicted on Attic vases as a beautiful woman, crowned with a tiara or diadem and with the large white feathered wings of a bird. In Homer's work The Iliad, her saffron-colored robe is embroidered or woven with flowers. The Iliad describes her thus: Now when dawn in robe of saffron was hastening from the streams of Oceanus, to bring light to mortals and immortals, Thetis reached the ships with the armor that the god had given her. But soon as early dawn appeared, the rosy-fingered, then gathered the folk about the pyre of glorious Hector. Eos is most often associated with her Homeric epithet rosy-fingered Eos rotodactylos, but Homer also bestows the name of Eos Erigenia on her in the Odyssey. That brightest of stars appeared, Eosphoros, that most often heralds the light of early rising dawn, Eos Erigenia. Near the end of Homer's Odyssey, the goddess Athena, wanting to buy Odysseus some time with his wife Penelope after they finally reunited with each other after 20 years, orders Eos not to yoke her 2 horses, thus delaying the coming of the new day. And rose-fingered dawn would have shone for the weepers had not bright-eyed goddess Athena thought of other things. She checked the long night in its passage, and further, held golden-throned dawn over ocean and didn't let her yoke her swift-footed horses, that bring daylight to men, Lampus and Phaethon, the colts that carry dawn. Hesiod, in Theogony, writes of Eos, and after these Erigenia, early born, bore the star Eosphoros, dawn-bringer, and the gleaming stars with which heaven is crowned. Eos, preceded by the morning star, is seen as the genetrix of all the stars and planets on the Roman poet Ovid's monumental work Metamorphoses. Her tears are considered to have created the morning dew, personified as Ursa or Herse. Role of Eos in the Gigantomachy. Eos played a small role in the battle of the giants against the gods in Greek mythology. When the earth goddess Gaia learned of a prophecy that the giants would perish at the hand of a mortal, Gaia sought to find a herb that would protect them. So Zeus ordered Eos, as well as her siblings Selene, Moon, and Helios, Sun, not to shine, and harvested all of the plant for himself, denying Gaia the chance to make the giants indestructible, according to Apollodorus. Eos is known in myths as a goddess who fell in love several times. According to the writer known as Pseudo-Apollodorus in his work Bibliotheca, it was the jealous Aphrodite who cursed her to be perpetually in love and have an insatiable sexual desire because Eos once had lain with Aphrodite's sweetheart Ares, the god of war. This desire caused her to abduct a number of handsome young men. In Homer's Odyssey, Calypso complains to Hermes about the male gods taking many mortal women as lovers, but not allowing goddesses to do the same. She brings up as example Eos's love for the hunter Orion, who was killed by Artemis in Ortygia. Apollodorus also mentions Eos' love for Orion, and adds that she brought him to the island of the Greek gods, Delos, where he met Artemis, the Greek goddess of the moon, the hunt, the wilderness and chastity. The handsome man Clytus was reportedly kidnapped and made immortal by her, according to Homer's Odyssey. The goddess of the dawn also fell in love with and abducted Tithonus, a handsome prince from Troy. She went with a request to Zeus, asking him to make Tithonus immortal for her sake. Zeus then agreed and granted her wish, but Eos forgot to ask for eternal youth as well for her beloved. For a while, they two lived happily, until Tithonus' hair started turning gray, and Eos ceased to visit him in bed. But he kept aging, and was soon unable to even move. In the end, Eos locked him up in a chamber, where he withered away, forever a helpless old man.